Hello lurkers. Welcome back to my channel. I know, I'm back to the sewage for a second time. I still haven't gotten it out of my system. Okay, the truth is that when life gets me in the dumps, I come to this spot to find beauty in something that is so disgusting. It's a place that I come to meditate on the philosophy of life. I ask myself, what is life? Why am I here? What is my purpose? Should I jump in and have a YOLO moment, although it comes with some skin infection due to the nasty bacteria in the sewage water? This is just another day of being around nature. Every time I look at this green feces algae water, I think of the movie Soylent Green. The premise is as follows: we are in the future in the year 2022 New York. The world has become so overpopulated and so polluted that resources are now scarce. I keep wanting to cross to the other side using this tree. It's strangely tempting. Back to the movie Soylent Green. It's a very interesting movie about society running out of food with 40 million people in New York that needs to be fed somehow. Here comes the greedy Soylent Corporation, who makes it their purpose to feed people a very generic and highly processed wafer known as Soylent Yellow and Soylent Red. Supposedly these Soylent wafers are made of plankton from the ocean. Planktons are small organisms that floats in great numbers in bodies of salt or fresh water. It's primarily comprised of algae and one cell organism called protozoa. Plankton food? Why not? People do eat seaweed after all. So this Soylent Corporation would bring these wafers to the masses, since real food like fruit, meat and vegetables were depleted and were only found in the black market if you could afford it or had connections. Of course, if you were rich, you had access to real food and luxury items. The class division between the rich and the poor and how that made a difference in the food they ate and how they lived was interesting in this dystopian world. It's like our world, but with a twist. The rich even had furniture or apartment women. So whenever a rich man wanted to buy an apartment, the apartment came with a woman. The woman was no different than the furniture. These women would stay behind when the rich apartment owner sold his apartment to another wealthy patron. Women were properties that depended on wealthy men to survive and have access to luxury that they otherwise wouldn't. At some point Soylent Corporation comes up with a different color wafer, which is green, also known as Soylent Green. Granted, the poor mass who are barely living and surviving thought Soylent Green was another plankton type of generic food. Then enters the main character Thorin, who is a detective. His purpose is to investigate a wealthy businessman who is murdered. At first it seemed like it was a robbery gone wrong, but Thorin suspects it was a deliberate murder. It turns out that both the murder and victim have ties to Soylent Green Corporation. In the process of his investigation, Thorin finds out through his housemate Saul, known as the Human Book, that the ocean was dead. There was no more life for the ocean to give as food to the people. Soylent Corporation could no longer feed the poor masses plankton. Thorin's life becomes in danger as he tries to expose Soylent Corporation and find out their secret. He ends up finding out that the state-assisted euthanasia program called Going Home that was created for the poor and weary who had enough of the misery of their hopeless world was not what it was claiming to be. The Going Home program allowed those who wanted to die to go peacefully, as they were surrounded by a big screen of beautiful images of whatever they wanted. For example, images of Earth when it used to be green and luscious. When it used to be beautiful, as they were being euthanized and laid dying. Finally, to Thorin's horror, these people were not being buried with dignity. They were instead Soylent Green. The best quote in the movie being, Soylent Green is people. The state made dying beautiful in order to have those who were too weary and poor, who didn't want to continue living anymore to want to die using their program. They were unknowingly food source for those who were left behind. This 1973 classic cult movie made me think about today's society where the earth is becoming more and more polluted and the possibility that in the future when food sources become depleted and contaminated, scientists and the government will need to come up with alternative ways to make food. They already have GMOs or genetically modified foods, which in itself is questionable. So imagine being in a society where you are not part of the 1%, but of the poor mass who are giving some sort of generic modified food source. A government that refuses to tell you what is in the food sources or what the ingredients are. If you had to eat this mysterious generic food source, would you want to know what it was made out of, or would you rather not? Would you want to know you were eating people or some sort of sewage garbage that's been purified through process such as filtration, reverse osmosis, distillation, activated carbon adsorption, ultraviolet radiation, deionization, or whatever other process that may or may not exist today? Knowing that you will die if you decide to stop eating the only food supply available to the poor mass. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I keep looking at the swamp expecting to see some sort of lagoon creature or the Loch Ness monster. I have yet to see any creatures in this swamp. Anyways, check out Soylent Green if you haven't yet, although I spoiled the movie for you, Chuckles. It's about time that I end this video. I don't know if I have bored you lurkers to death, but I hope you'll at least enjoyed the visual. Please don't forget to press like, subscribe, and comment on what you think about the movie Soylent Green. I hope to see you again next time. Bye.